Greetings everybody, it's Emily from Pages of Ink, and I forgot to do a video yesterday. So I will be doing my favorite Friday jar video today, even though it's Saturday. It's busy, and then I got home with enough time to actually make a video and post it, and it'd be totally fine. But I completely forgot. So, making up for it. Alright, time to take a time. Topic. So this topic is creatures. So I don't know if I had any like specific creatures in mind, or if it was just like the different races and the different creatures that are in books that are like my favorite, or just like mythological creatures in general. I don't think I really thought about it when I wrote it down, but I can talk about my favorite creatures, favorite literary, favorite mythical, magical. I guess I'll just put magical. But before I get into like any list of things, I will say that my favorite creature of anything, magic, anything not real, because I wish they were real, are phoenixes. Because they're amazing. They still get to live their lives and then they can start over. Still being them pretty much. They're like reborn from their own ashes, which is actually pretty cool. Although I would like to see somebody make a story where like Death as like a character, Death personified, is chasing this phoenix who never seems to die because they're reborn every time. So they're like, oh darn you phoenix, I will get you next time. Or something. But I think that'd be pretty cool. I really like phoenixes. One thing that I've only ever seen in like Harry Potter is that phoenixes can heal. And I do actually have a story where there's a main character and she's a phoenix in human form. And she has the power to heal, she has the power to control fire, because phoenixes are also known as fiery birds. And one of the plots I had thought about doing, like, not plot, but like backstory, is that she's actually her mother, reborn from the ashes, so she is who she thinks is her mother, but is actually her. But I figured that might be a little weird. Hopefully if I ever do write it, that this video may not even exist anymore and nobody will be like, oh, this! That, and I don't think I'm gonna pursue it anyway, just because it just seems so weird. But anyway, so phoenixes are my all-time favorite creatures. But there's a lot of other creatures that I find really interesting, like the kappa, the Japanese like turtle creature that lives near the water. I forgot where I was first introduced to a kappa. It was actually kind of a weird, interesting character. Kind of reminded me of a Ninja Turtle, but with like a crown. I think the crown has water in it, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. There's a whole bunch of different types of creatures. I mean, if by creature I meant like maybe even just a race, my favorite would probably be vampires because they're immortal. They have a fear of death, so anything that lives longer than it should impresses me. Which is why I hope to be part of the generation of people that live to be 100. Because I hate the idea of death. It just scares me. Anyway, but I like vampires because they're, you know, they're when they're changed, they're supposed to either be already attractive or they make them attractive. Like immortality makes them attractive. It's a weird concept, but I mean it'd be nice. Although I think most of the time nothing really happens. I think it's just like the aloofness and the like pale pallor and like how their eyes seem to glitter more. I don't know. It's just that. I don't like the idea of having to kill people for my food, which is kind of why I was impressed by the vampires in Stephanie Meyer's Twilight series. Yes, Twilight. Because they're like vegetarian vampires. I'm not playing with a lighter. Vegetarian vampires, so they like drink the blood of animals instead of humans, which they live in a foresty area where there's animals everywhere, so that's, you know, not too much of a problem. There is a forest by my house, and there are deer that actually walk through my neighborhood at sometimes. Um, but I also don't think it could hurt an animal, so I would have a problem being a vampire. But vampires are probably my favorite, like, race of creature. Then there's, you know, the Fae, which I have seen stories where the Fae include vampires. I've seen stories where, the Fae are just, like, creatures. Oh, it was Lost Girl. There's a TV series called Lost Girl where it's a Fae world. So there's the Light Fae and the Dark Fae, or the Seelie and the Unseelie. And it was like any creature you could think of was Fae, or like under Fae. So they're like not quite Fae, but they're still magic. I was like, well, vampires aren't really Fae, but apparently they're considered Dark Fae. It's weird. But anyway, trying to think of more creatures. I've had friends that have been obsessed with werewolves before. In fact, I had two very good friends, and we were like a Three Musketeer type thing. And two of them were werewolves and I was a vampire, so I was like the adopted sister. Of course, now they're engaged and I'm all alone, so third wheel for the win. But werewolves are still kind of an interesting kind of creature because different stories have different types. So like Twilight, they change when they get angry, which was interesting. It had like a Hulk thing to it, but you know, it was nice that they didn't have to wait for a full moon, because they're the type of werewolves that need their power more often. I don't know, it's a lot of the times when werewolves have the ability to change with that full moon, it's usually in a situation that's very negative. So like if there's like a fight going on in like the supernatural verse that they live in, they're gonna need to access it, whereas like modern werewolf tales are pretty much like things are normal and there's werewolves just killing people because they can't control themselves. In Being Human and in Harry Potter, werewolves completely lose who they are, whereas like Twilight, The Darkest Powers by Kelly Armstrong has a werewolf and he can't control his changes, they just kind of come at first. So those two, they can change once Derek is able to control his changing, he would probably be able to use it whenever he needed to. So it's like there's two different sides to the way werewolves work, and I always thought that was kind of cool. More creatures. In the story that I talked about before, I also had mermaids in there. And I think mermaids are actually pretty cool creatures. Because I mean, they can swim forever. They have really pretty tails. They can lure men to their death. I don't like killing people. I'm not that kind of person. But mermaids are cool. Mermaids my mother is obsessed with, so there's a lot of mermaids in my life. That my former best friend was really obsessed with mermaids too. There's also a Thunderbird in human form, so she has the ability to control storms, and she actually has wings. And if you ever asked me the question what type of like supernatural physical feature I would want, I would always pick wings. Because even though I am like afraid of heights to the point where it took me 19-20 years to ride a roller coaster that actually had loops in it, that was outside, not inside, where you could actually see yourself going through the loops. Yeah. The idea of having wings should terrify me, but I love flying in planes. And if I'm able to control, like, my height, honestly, I think I would be okay with being up high if I had wings. And I mean, flying sounds fantastic. And I think I kind of fell in love with the idea of reading Maximum Ride, because she's not like any mythical creature. She's just a genetically modified human who has like, I forgot the percentage. I want to say it's like 6% of like avian DNA inserted into her DNA, so she has wings and she can like tuck them into her back, which to me always seemed unrealistic, because if you're, for example, my height, but I think she's actually taller than me. If you're like 5 foot, I think you need like double the wingspan, and I don't see how you can fit like 10 foot of wings behind your back. I think that's how that works, right? The wings of birds double the size of their body. So like if you have a bird about that big, their wing size is going to be about that big, right? That makes sense? Anyway, wings. So Thunderbird. And I always thought Thunderbirds were kind of an interesting creature. There's a book that Kelly Armstrong wrote. I forgot the series. It was called too. It's one of her newest ones. I think the last book came out last year. I wouldn't quote me on that though. But in it, there's these 2 twin girls, and they have like these like, I think their powers are like heightened skills or something that makes them special. And they're traveling somewhere. It's been a while. I can't remember what the plot of the book is. And I would look it up and tell you guys, but this is like a rant video that I do, so I have to just keep talking. But at one point there's a thunderbird that comes down, and there's like a whole bunch of wind, and I think there's like thunder and lightning crackling everywhere because it's a thunderbird. Thunderbirds are a Native American mythical creature, and I do need to do more research on it for my book. But the character herself is Native, in blood. And my mermaid is actually black, so there's a black POC mermaid. Main character is white. Unfortunately, it's just, she is who I wish I was, which is why she's there. Anyway, there is an Asian dragon. Dragons are actually pretty cool creatures too. There's a whole bunch of different kinds. I mean, if you watch How to Train Your Dragon, there's like dragons that shoot fire, like usual, or there's dragons that shoot lightning, kind of, or there's the head that shoots gas, the other that ignites the gas. There's dragons that shoot acid and ice, and it's really cool. Like, the amount of dragons people can think of are really neat. Wyverns are pretty cool too. They don't have front limbs, their wings are their limbs. But in Throne of Glass, they get the witches get to ride wyverns. I think that's pretty badass. Let's see, what else is in my book that I'm writing? There's also a werewolf. There's a will-o-wisp, in human form. So she can glow and like blink between places, so like teleport kind of. Which glowing actually sounds kind of dumb now that I say it out loud, so I should probably make that not a thing. Maybe she can control like a glow in her hand, like she can create light. That would be kind of cool. You've helped me figure out something. There's a whole bunch of other characters. I know I had a couple of, I think, Indian mythical creatures. Like it was like mythical creatures from India, but I don't remember if I kept that or if I changed it to something else. But there are 2 twins, and part of their, because it's a circus thing, part of their act was dancing together to like tell a story, and I think I had like the mermaid singing the story, and they were like acting it out. I don't remember, because I changed it so many times, but that was a thing. Yeah, so I do have a lot of creatures that I really enjoy, but I think my favorite is, and probably always will be, a phoenix, because they're just so badass. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to talk about. I decided to go with mythological creatures on this one just because creatures, if we're talking creatures like animals, like anything, my favorite is a fox, and my second favorite, or my like favorite on land, is a fox, and then my favorite of the sea is a dolphin, in case you were wondering. But that is all I have for you today. My read along is still going, but it's been very, I have seen one person constantly participating, one person other than me participating, who has done like the intro post. Everybody else has posted like a photo here or there, and I don't know if I'm just not seeing them, or if they just aren't really doing it, if they're just reading the books but not like participating as a group, which is nice if they're reading the books with us, but if I don't have people participating, I'm gonna have to pull the plug, because when I host read-alongs, I put like a whole bunch of effort into it, and if I'm putting a whole bunch of effort into something that one other person is doing, it kind of defeats the purpose. I might as well just do a buddy read with them, and we can talk about the books as we read them. So hopefully I get some more interest. Hopefully people post more. I may make a post saying to tag me in their posts, and maybe that will help so I can see if people are actually participating. Granted, my feed might like overflow with tags, but I'd rather have people participating than not. I am still on Cinder. I am most of the way through. I have actually contemplated starting... I was going to wait till last to read it, but if I pull the plug on the read-along, I might stop after Scarlet and then read Stars Above, and then this. But I'm thinking I'm going to start this now because I have been really excited for this, and if nobody's participating, I am not going to wait till the end of the month. That, and I mean, I can always read it early and then like keep notes on like questions for response questions. But anyway, I will stop blabbing now. But I will see you guys next week for another Favorite Friday video. I believe the week after that is when Beauty and the Beast comes out, and I will be doing my Beauty and the Beast talk, which I'm really excited to just talk about it and like all of the thoughts, all of the things. I have kind of mentioned it a little bit, I think, with fairy tale retellings. I think I did a video on it. I might not have. I might have picked something else up, and I was like, oh, this. Because I know I talked about it a little bit, but I wanted to talk about it a lot more in its own video, and just how much I love it. And there still haven't been really any tag videos for me to do. It's BookTube has kind of would, because all I'm seeing lately is just like talks. There hasn't really been any tags with like questions, and I could make one up, but the problem is I am actually really terrible at coming up with questions or topics. It's usually just like very basic, like, what are your dreams? What do you like to eat? That's not one. I think it was like, what is your favorite food? Or if you could make anything, what would it be? Which is interesting, but it's like they've been asked before. But anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. I will see you guys next week. Hopefully I will have more videos for you than just these, but I don't think so because I'm doing a read-along. So I don't have anything new, because I know I have a Lunar Chronicles series discussion that I've already done. So I don't need to do any more book talks for those. Maybe for the graphic novel, woo! I squished my mask, that's great. Maybe for the graphic novel, Wires and Nerve, or Stars Above. But other than that, I'm gonna leave you alone. Have a great weekend, guys. I'm sorry for the late video and the long video because I can't shut up. I'll see you guys soon. I love you guys. It means so much that you watch my videos. I am thankful for every view that I get. I am never upset, even if I just get one. I mean, I'm a little bummed, but I'm like, well, at least one person watched and liked my video. So, yeah, I will see you guys soon-ish, and have a good weekend. Happy reading.